Hey, what's up friends? This is James Hardy. Welcome to Power Yoga. We're going to start today's class out at standing. So bring yourself up at the top of your mat when you're ready. There is a word in yoga called samastihiti. This word is not a pose, it's actually a command. And what it's requesting is that you arrive at standing in balanced stillness. And the way I was thinking about it is, usually if you kind of catch somebody standing, they might be kind of casual. With samastihiti, what I think about is that we're ready to go. So one thing to check is if you were to get ready and you would kind of do a squat jump and lift up, and you were to catch yourself right at standing, how would that look in your body and how would that feel? So, samastihiti. Your feet can be at hip bone distance on parallel, or maybe your big toes together with a little space back between your heels. Roll your shoulder heads away from your ears, opening up through your chest. Relax your arms, have a slight bend in your knees, and then feel that length all the way up through the back of your neck. Awesome. Close your eyes, and then we'll get into our breath warm-up. This is Dirga Pranayama, which is a 3-part breath exercise. Bring your air all the way down to empty. And then breathe into your low belly and low back. Hold there. Breathe into your mid-abdomen and your mid-back. Hold there, and then fill all the way up into the chest, all the way to the shoulders. Relax around the full breath, and then exhale for 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ujjayi Pranayama. Inhale through the nose, slow and deep, like you're sipping the air in through a straw. Then exhale out the nose slow and deep like you're fogging up a mirror. Okay, keep that going at your own pace. Ujjayi Pranayama is victorious breathing. We also call it the ocean breath. And you want to hear that sound of ocean waves in your head as you slowly draw in and slowly release out. It's a nasal breath in and out through your nose, and it's a diaphragmatic breath where you are using the full extent of your breath capacity. So it's a deep belly breath. Let this breath be your guide for your practice, and then simply take what works for me and leave the rest behind. You can open your eyes to a soft gaze up front, and on your inhale, stretch and reach up into Tadasana Mountain. Interlace your pointer fingers into a steeple, and on your exhale, arch over to the right as your hips shift to the left. So you're pressing deeper into your left foot, extending out through your fingertips. Your shoulder heads don't need to crowd your ears, they just stay down away from the ears and the back, so you're really finding length through your side bodies here. Use your next inhale to lift back up, maybe arc back slightly, and then with your exhale, let's arc over to the left as your hips shift over to the right, pressing down deeper, or pressing harder rather into your right foot, reaching out through your fingertips. And then we get to use that breath as a mindfulness practice. We get to use that breath to help with our strength, with our balance, and in this case also with our flexibility. So every time that you exhale, your body gets to release slightly deeper into the stretch that you're in. Inhale to lift back up in space, release your arms, and on your exhale, hinge out from your hips and take a swan dive all the way down to your forward fold. Excellent. Release your head at the bottom, and then inhale halfway up to a spinal extension. Press your hands to your shins, bend your knees a little bit, and then tone your shoulder blades in, friends. Pretend you have a pencil between your shoulder blades you're holding into place. Gaze is down, crown of the head is reaching forward. Next, exhale, fold forward, and then we take a ragdoll frame. So feet are right at about hip bone distance, opposite hand to the outside of opposite elbow or bicep, and just release the weight of your head and gently rock side to side, or lightly rock back and forth. Nice. Find those inhales, find those exhales. It's fantastic for your spine. Really nice stretch for the back of the legs. And then just reminding the weight of your head to relax down so you don't need to be tensing your neck muscles. And then just bring your left hand down to the ground in the center of your feet in front of them. You can use your fingertips, fist, or palm. I'm going to choose to use my palm. Reach your right arm up in space so you twist open to the right wall.
Bend a little deeper into your left knee, really lengthen into your right leg, press down through your heel, and stay with your breathing. You should feel a nice stretch up along the outside of your right leg, all the way into your hip, and all the way through your side body as you twist open. And again, we're just doing that slow, deep ocean breath, Ujjayi Pranayama. And I love that about yoga. The whole time you're going through these poses, you are also doing this other practice, pranayama, breath control. Next, exhale, friends, bring your right hand down to the ground. Use your fingertips, fists, or palm to root into the ground. You're right in front of the feet, right in between them. And then you're pressing now into your left leg, lengthening your left leg out as you bend into your right knee. Reach your left arm straight up in space and twist open to the left. Gaze over towards the left side of the room. Stack that top left shoulder over the bottom right. And again, we should feel a nice stretch on the back of the left leg, on the outside back edge of your left leg. And then you can feel it all the way up to your hip, into your back, and all the way up through the side body. Let those waves of breath wash over you. One more inhale to fill up and open. And when your exhale comes, fold all the way forward. Keep the weight in your head and your arms super heavy, and vertebrae by vertebrae wind up to standing. Head is the last thing to come up. When your head comes up, inhale, reach your arms wide and tall. And then on your exhale, just bring your hands down into your heart center. Inhale, reach back up to Tadasana Mountain, breathe in. And on the exhale, hinge out from your hips and find your swan dive. Come down into your forward fold. Release your head at the bottom. Inhale halfway, lengthen your spine, press to your shins, gaze is down. And then plant your hands, and we're going to step back into a plank position. And pause here for a moment. You could be on your toes, or you could come to your knees and cross your ankles. Imagining a saw cutting through a piece of wood, and take that slow motion, just rocking a little forwards and a little bit backwards. And one big thing we want to feel is the hips right up on level with your shoulders. Take an inhale at the top, and on your exhale, lower halfway down, leading with your sternum into Chaturanga Dandasana. So you lower to elbow height. Elbows are in a little tighter towards the rib cage. They're not touching the side bodies, but they're just not as wide as a normal military push-up. Inhale to lift back up the top of the plank, and then again, exhale, lower halfway down. The pose is Chaturanga Dandasana. You're holding your body up off the ground. Again, elbows are a little closer in towards your side bodies, just not as wide as they would normally be. Inhale, reach back up. And on this exhale, slowly lower the ground in 5, 4, 3. You got it, yogis. 2, 1. Release down. And then we'll reach up into Salabhasana. So this is going to be our locust pose. So pull your thighs up off the ground. Legs are flying back. Lift your chest off the ground. And then find length through the back of your neck, with your chin slightly in towards your throat. You can look forward, but you're looking more out of the top of your eyes. Okay, check in. Did you lose track of that Ujjayi breathing? Bring it right back into your inhales, right back into your exhales. You could bend the elbows and lift them up a little bit. You can tone your shoulder blades in a little bit towards one another. This one always reminds me of surfing, that point when you're trying to swim past the break, or at that point if you're trying to catch a wave. So if we want, let's just cross the ankles, reach your right arm forward in space, and then bring the back of your left hand to the small of your back. We'll get a little bit of that motion with your arms here. Almost there. And switching across your ankles the other way, left arm goes forward. Press the back of your right hand to the small of your back. Find your breath. Last couple in this pose. Nice, friends. Release down, and then we'll lift ourselves all the way up into a tabletop position and start to find cat and cow. So your belly drops, and then in cow, your chest and tailbone lift. In cat, you drop your head down, tailbone tucks, and your mid-back lifts high. You can inhale to one, exhale to the other, or take a full round of breath in one before you move on to the next. You also might rock a little forwards or backwards, or let your hips or shoulders shift over to the left or to the right. So there's a lot of exploring and warming up you can do in the hips, in the shoulders, in the neck, and then obviously the full length of the spine. Excellent. Then one piece that's become really big for me in my power yoga practice, where we do a lot of planks, down dogs, is that I need to warm up my wrists and my palms. So take the inside of your wrist, point them towards the front of the room. Your palms are down, your thumbs are pointing to the side. You can rock a little forwards and backwards, or you can lean a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right. My favorite is you lean back in space and peel your hands off the mat all the way to your fingertips, and then slowly rock back forward, letting the fingertips roll back down into the ground. Take the back of your hands to the ground. Your fingers can point to the back of the room, or they can point towards one another. You can drop more of the weight back towards your heels so you're not pressing down super hard. And same thing, side to side, massaging back and forth. Maybe peel back to your fingernails like we were doing earlier and roll back in, whatever feels good to you here. And then hero's pose is a great place where we can just take the sit bones to the heels with the knees together, tops of the feet to the ground, and give a roll out through your wrists. Move into your fingers. Move through your forearms. Move through your hands. Excellent. This is going to bring us to our first downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. So you can step to a plank or to tabletop, and then shift back in space to down dog. I like to use plank because the distance of your hands to your feet in down dog is pretty much identical to that in a plank. Down dog, I step in a little bit closer than I do in my plank. And then just take a moment and warm this up. So drop the weight into one heel while you're bending through opposite knees, slowly walking out the dog. While you're doing that, remind the weight of your head to relax. Spread out into your palms. Get a little bit of a grip into your fingers. And start to let your biceps tone into center line like you're holding a beach ball between the biceps. Find a micro bend in your elbows. And now, rather than walking the dog out, let's just hold down dog. With a little bit of a bend in your knees, maybe deeper than you usually would, really get that diagonal stretch up through the spine, lifting the hips up as you find all that connection down to the ground, and what we talked about with the arms. And then let the heels start to pull down towards the earth behind you, so lengthening down from that length in your spine. Deep breath in here, and on your next exhale, come down to your tabletop position. Excellent. So we'll start to reach the right leg back in space, and then the left arm forward. Double check that you have the right hand directly underneath your shoulder, left knee directly underneath your left hip. This is a teeter-totter at tabletop. Gaze is down, crown of the head reaches forward. Press your right heel to the wall behind you, let your right toes point down to the ground. Lift the heel up on level with your hip, and then extend through your fingers. Your thumb is up and the left hand, pinky is down. Breathe in, and then like doing cat on your exhale, bring elbow, knee in as you round your back. On your inhale, open back up, extend left arm, right leg. And then again, exhale, take that crunch, that round through your back. Awesome, one more. Inhale, open up, extend. And then on your exhale, bring it back in. We'll go for the opening. You're welcome just to hold teeter-totter, or we can go for a bind, where you bend your back right knee. Your heel comes to your sit bone, and your left hand grabs the inside arch of the foot. Now, what's great with the bind is you're going to practice a balance of kicking and pulling. So your foot is kicking back, and it pulls your arm straight back behind you, and then you pull back against the foot. As you do that, your back knee is going to lift up on level with your hip, and then kind of like Salabhasana, that locust pose, your chest starts to lift up a little bit. Your gaze starts to come forward a little bit. Find those inhales, find those exhales, and if you fall out of it, no worries, just try it again. That's the best part with balance. It's just a game. Excellent, nice and slow, just re-extend on that exhale, and then leave your right leg extended, but bring your left hand to the ground. Tuck your left toes, and then come back to three-legged down dog, making any little adjustments as you need to find that full three-legged down dog. Press your right heel back up to the wall behind you. Pretend you're actually like there's somebody's hand is up, and it's pushing back into your heel, and you're pushing back up against it, or just a wall that you're pressing into. But that's going to help you from sinking into your left hip as you actively reach back and up. Your next exhale, just bring your knee into your forehead, round your back just like we've been doing. Lift your back heel high, stay with it. And then step up, low lunge position, right up in between your hands. Get a nice long length of your stance, and then warrior two. Knife edge of the left foot to the ground, left arm back, right arm forward. Your heels are in one line from the front of the mat to the back. Spine is straight up in space, and then we want a really long stance, so your right knee is bent at 90 and your right thigh is parallel to the ground. Shoulder heads slightly away from the ears, shoulder blades slightly toned in, and then gazing just right out across those front fingertips. Actively press down into your right heel, grip through your right foot, and find the strength around your right knee through upper and lower muscles in the right leg. Feel your right glute toning in. Strong press down into the back left leg all the way into the knife edge of it, and then your thighs tone in towards center line, helping to stabilize you. Next exhale is extended side angle pose. So legs stay the same, but you hinge forward, right forearm, right thigh, left arm lifts up in space, and you should start to feel a nice lift through that left side body. Other variations people will take is reaching left arm on a diagonal, or with the bottom right arm, dropping that to the inside of your right ankle, fingertips just hovering off the ground, elbow inside of knee, back of the hand pressing inside of ankle, opening the wingspan. You got it, those inhales and those exhales. On your inhale, come back up into your warrior two, and as you exhale, reverse your warrior. So reach your right arm straight up, left hand to your hip thigh or tucked behind you, and then you can choose to bend the elbow so you're arcing through that arm. Your gaze could come up so your head falls back a little bit. If you came up out of your lunge, press right back into it. Find those inhales, find those exhales. Okay, we're right there. So inhale into your reverse warrior, and on your exhale, cartwheel your hands down to a low lunge position. So the hands frame the right foot, you turn onto the ball of your left. Bring the gaze slightly up, and we'll step into Utkatasana chair pose. So left foot steps up to meet your right. Now for how deep the squat is in chair, I've been using the analogy of skiing, that if you're tucking down a mountain on skis, you're in this deep lunge. Chair to me is that same depth of your lunge, but then you're lifting your upper body up. And there's this nice curve in your low back as your chest shines up. You want to watch that your shoulders aren't collapsing in towards one another, kind of caving in. There's strength of your shoulder blades behind you. So maybe arms are straight up, maybe they're more cactus open so you can get a little bit of that connection of the shoulder blades behind you. And then on an exhale, friends, you're going to bring this into flying chair. Simply lift your heels, reach your arms back. Some similarities back into that locust pose. Elbows could bend and reach back. Shoulder blades tone in. You're finding the balance on the balls of your feet. You're still in that squat. Make sure you're not dumping weight into your knee joints. Support the knees. And then drop your right heel down to the ground. Inhale to draw your arms and your left knee up tall in space. Breathe in. This is one-legged mountain. Left knee bent at 90, thigh bone plugged back in towards the hips. Feel your big right toe gripping to the ground, and then gaze forward. And again, if you fall out of it, no worries. This is just a game we get to play with our bodies. On an exhale, we'll swim this into Dakasana, airplane. So your left leg reaches back, your arms reach back, and then super similar to locust pose. I know I keep referencing that, right? Your gaze is lifting up a little bit. You're looking out the top of your eyes, and then your chest is lifting up a little bit. And then those elbows might bend a little bit and lift. Shoulder blades definitely tone back and in. Reach back through those toes. Stay playful with your balance. You got this. Now we're just breathing and balancing. Inhale, back up one-legged mountain. Option to extend your left leg forward as you lift up through your left thigh. Suitcase hand on the top of your left thigh that's lifting straight up as you press out from it. And that's going to avoid us reaching the left leg forward and falling back in space. You want to keep a strong spine. On your next exhale, simply plant the foot to the ground. Bring your hands back into your heart center. We're back at standing. Inhale to reach up tall. Breathe into mountain.
And on your exhale, hinge out from your hips and control your swan dive all the way down into your forward fold. Inhale halfway up, lengthen and strengthen through the spine, tone shoulders in, and then plant your hands, step back into a plank. You can go right to down dog, or we can exhale halfway down this time. Chaturanga Dandasana, press to the tops of our feet, shoelace side of the feet, and take this back bend in upward facing dog. And it's a combination, in my opinion, of a plank and a back bend, because the only thing touching the ground are the tops of the feet and the hands. And other than that, you are lifting yourself up. Shoulder blades toning slightly and shoulder heads away from the ears on the back, opening through the chest. Tuck your toes from that down dog. Use the breath to reach back up into, from up dog rather, and reach back up into your downward facing dog. Couple rounds of breath here, friends. Find the inhales, find the exhales. You got it. Next exhale, just lower and bring yourself to your tabletop position. Once you've got the tabletop in place, start to reach your left leg to the wall back behind you. And then with your left hand right under your shoulder, right knee right underneath your hip, reach your right arm forward, so teeter-totter at tabletop. Say that 3 times fast. Okay, gaze is down, crown of the head reaches forward, press back through your left heel, lift the foot up on level with your hip. Awesome. Next, exhale, bring your elbow, knee in, round your back. This is like cat. And then inhale, open back up. We're doing that 2 more times and swim with the breath. Exhale, bring elbow, knee in, round back. Inhale, reach back out. Uno más. Exhale, elbow, knee comes in. Inhale, open back up. This is your option to stay or the bind. Bend your back left knee, heel to the sit bone. Right hand reaches back for the inside arch of the foot. If you connect, kick the foot into the hand, and then start to take your gaze forward, feel your chest lift up, feel your back knee lift up. So as the foot is kicking backwards, pulling your arm tight, pulling your arm long, you're pulling back against the foot. And I love that about binds. With your own body balancing and finding that kick and that pull. And with this yoga practice, half of it is being in the postures, the asanas, right? The other half of it is being in here and doing your breath practice, your pranayama. So Ujjayi pranayama. Find the inhales through your nose and create those exhales out the nose. Okay, we're ready to release on an exhale. Back out to our teeter-totter. Leave your left leg lifted, but take your right hand to the ground. Tuck the back right toes, lift up, 3-legged down dog, make any adjustments you need to. So again, pretend that you're pressing your left heel back into a wall, or that somebody's holding their hand and is pressing their hand into your heel, and you're pressing the heel back into their hand. And we're just watching, we're not dropping down into the right hip or the right leg, we're strongly pressing up and back. And then on an exhale, bring the knee into your forehead, rounding the back heel goes high. We've been in this shape before. We're holding and breathing. And then step the foot up between your hands, long, low lunge. Knife edge of the right foot to the ground, and warrior 2 with left leg forward, right leg back. Again, your gaze is over your front fingertips. Think about the left sit bone tucked underneath your body. Think about that strong press into your legs, but your thighs toned back to center line. Imagine that back right arm on level with your left, or even shoot your gaze back over your fingertips. Nice posture here, so we're opening through the chest, shoulder heads are released down away from the ears and the back. Sometimes in warrior 2s, I'll see people where the back leg is just totally relaxed, or kind of leaning onto the inside edge of it. Your back leg is active. I know it's not the one that has the most attention because you're lunging with your front leg, but you want to feel that back leg fired up. Next, exhale, extended side angle pose. So think about the variation you ended up with on the other side and recreate it on this side. So I ended up with my hand down the inside of my leg, with an elbow into knee, back of the hand inside of ankle, and then right arm straight up in space. Check that your back hip isn't popping up from warrior 2. We want it on the same level as your front left hip, so to keep those warrior 2 legs while you're here. Beautiful breathing. Okay, inhale, comes back up into warrior two, and then reverse your warrior. So hand behind you to your hip or thigh, right hand. Left arm is straight up, maybe bend the elbow, maybe gaze comes up. Stay deep into your lunge and lift up through that left rib cage. Right shoulder relaxes down away from your right ear. One more inhale into it, you're doing great. And on your exhale, just cartwheel your hands down into your low lunge. Turn onto the ball of the right foot. Bring your gaze slightly up and then step your right foot to meet your left. Find that deep lunge. Again, you're welcome to take that shape right here like you're tucking down the mountain on skis. Feel how deep that lunge is and then lift your chest up. Maybe open your arms a little wider to feel those shoulder blades coming together back behind you. Shining the heart forward in space. You get to use that breath for strength. Use that breath to dig in and find those parts that sustain. Flying chair on an exhale, lift your heels, you're on the balls of your feet. Take your arms back like locust. And then left heel drops, inhale arms and right knee lift up, one-legged mountain. Right knee bent at 90, thigh bone plugged down to your hips. The key with one-legged mountain is that you're really looking to recreate what you would do with both feet to the ground, just lifting one leg up. So we want to watch that we're not leaning backwards or falling into the standing leg. And then on an exhale, Dakasana, airplane. Right leg swims back, arms swim back, and then definite connection to locust pose here. You're just doing it on one leg. Lifting back up through that right thigh, pointing your toes back. Lifting up through your chest, flying your arms back. Gaze out the top of your eyes. If there was a mirror in front of you, you would see your whole body, you'd see your whole throat, so looking forward. Use that breath. Nice. Inhale, rise back up, one-legged mountain. Option is you lift your right leg up to extend forward at the same time. Your leg does not need to go straight. There can be a bend into it as you extend. One more inhale, lifts up. And on the exhale, foot to the ground, hands into the heart center. From standing, inhale, reach up into mountain. Exhale, hinge out from your hips, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up, lengthen through your spine. Plant your hands, step back to your plank, your choice. You can go directly to down dog. Exhale, halfway to chaturanga dandasana. Tops of your feet, inhale, upward facing dog. Tuck your toes, press back to down dog. Couple rounds of breath here, friends. Watch that you're not sinking into the joints in down dog. That you're not necessarily just relaxing or checking out into it. You want to stay engaged. And then we're at the flow part of our class where we go breath to movement. So just do your best with this, have fun, follow me, and of course stay safe and listen to your body. So your next exhale, we come down to tabletop. On your inhale, reach your right leg backwards and your left arm forwards. And as you exhale, round the back, elbow, knee, come in. Inhale, open back up, re-extend, leave right leg lifted. Exhale, left hand to the ground. Tuck your left toes, inhale, right leg, three-legged down dog. And on your exhale, bring your knee to your forehead, round your back, and then step up, low lunge. Knife edge of the left foot to the ground. Warrior two is your inhale, left arm back, right arm forward. Exhale, extended side angle pose. On your inhale, come back up into that reverse warrior. And as you exhale, cartwheel down into your low lunge position. Gaze comes up, inhale, chair, left foot meets your right. And on your exhale, flying chair. Drop your right heel, inhale, arms and left knee lift, one-legged mountain. Exhale, airplane. Inhale, back to one-legged mountain. You can extend left leg forward. You got this. And then exhale, standing, hands to heart. Inhale, lift up into mountain. And on your exhale, hinge out from your hips and swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, reach through the back. And then plant your hands, step or float back to your plank. Exhale, halfway down, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, down dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Breathe in, strong down dog. And on the exhale, come down into your tabletop. This time we inhale, left leg back, right arm forwards. And as you exhale, bring elbow, knee in around the back. Inhale, open back up, extend, leave left leg lifted. Exhale, right hand to the ground under your shoulder. Tuck right toes, inhale, left leg back up, three-legged down dog. And on your exhale, knee to forehead, round the back, and then step the foot up between your hands. Inhale, rise up into your warrior two. And on your exhale, find your extended side angle pose. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Exhale, cartwheel down, low lunge position. Gaze comes up, inhale, chair, right foot meets your left. Exhale, flying chair, lift the heels, arms back. Drop your left heel, inhale, arms and right knee, one-legged mountain. And then exhale, airplane, swim it back. Inhale, come back up, one-legged mountain. You can extend your right leg forward. Exhale, standing, nice work. Inhale to reach up into your mountain pose. And on the exhale, hinge out from your hips and swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up, lengthen your spine. Plant your hands, step or float back to the top of your plank position. Excellent, friends. Come down onto your forearms, and then we're going to do hip dips from here. So when you're ready, on your mark, get set, go. So drop the hips down to the right, pick up, down to the left, and pick up. And we're into our core part of class. We just went right into it. You stay with it. Part of this is kind of more like a fitness class, and then I work in more traditional yoga aspects to it as well. It's just our middle section. Okay, when you're ready, you're just going to hold forearm plank position. Hips on level with your shoulders, gaze down, crown of the head is reaching forward. Stay strong. You can think about lengthening your low back a little bit and feeling those abdominals really holding up and in. And then back into those hip dips. So you're not going all the way down to the side. You're picking up before your hips almost tap down. And then you're kind of rolling onto the pinky edge of that outside foot. Almost there. 3, 2, and 1. Perfect. Drop down for Sphinx pose. Tops of the feet to the ground, rooting into your forearms, lift up to your chest. Press down into the bellies of the forearms. Create length through the back of your neck. You could let your chin drop down, find some cat in your upper back. You could also let your chin, with your head upright, go to the left or to the right. And then lower your chest down. We're making our way up into down dog. And then to bring yourself to your sit bones, you can either do a little hop up or you can just drop your knees, cross your ankles, come forward. Once you get there, we're going to get into our boat. So your heels will plant with your feet pointing up. And then cross your ankles, lift the heels up off the ground. And just like you're rowing a boat, when you're ready, just join me. Start to open, twisting to the left, open, twisting to the right. More like if you're rowing a canoe. Stay with your breathing.
then we will hold Navasana, boat pose. So open up to your chest. You can have your knees bent or you can lengthen your legs out. Tone your shoulders in with that spine up nice and tall. Stay with your breathing and relax your face. You can also hold the hands to the back of your legs as well, just somewhere in between there and that full opening. Use that breathing. Nice work. Almost there. And then back into your canoe. Cross your ankles. Open to the left, open to the right. Nice. Last 3, 2, last 1. Perfect, friends. Come onto your back. We're almost done with our core. We just got a couple more things we're going to do. Bring your knees to your chest. Wrap your arms around your knees and give yourself a little rest, just rocking out side to side. Massaging out the hips, massaging out the sacrum. And just relaxing the weight of your head down for a moment, catching your breath. Okay, next piece are leg lifts. And today we're going to do straight leg lifts, and then we're going to hold, and then we'll do more straight leg lifts. So interlace the hands behind the base of your skull, open your elbows wide, lift the head and shoulders slightly off the ground, legs start straight up, you breathe in, and on your exhale, come halfway down, keeping low back rooted the whole time. Inhale, lift back up. That's your movement, so go for that. Use that breathing, you got it. A couple more, and then we're gonna hold. And hold. So remember, low back rooted to the ground. Head and shoulders slightly up. Elbows out wide. Hands just right back behind the base of your head. Using that breath to dig into it. And back to your movement. Inhale straight up. Exhales come halfway down. Okay, last 3, 2, and 1. Perfect. Take Supta Baddha Konasana, recline bound angle pose. Recline cobbler's pose. Bottoms of the feet together, knees are wide. Relax your head, your shoulders, your arms. And just work with your breathing. And with your body in this restorative resting pose, it's such a great time just to practice what it feels like to take that breath from the bottom to the top, and then from the top down to the bottom, and letting yourself just ride out the waves of breath. Okay, friends, last piece of core. Legs are straight up. Grab your hamstrings, lift your head off the ground so your gaze is forward, and then release the legs and reach your arms forward. We're going to twist to the left, twist forward to the right. Go for it. Like you're trying to touch the top left edge of your mat, and then touch the top right edge of your mat. Okay, the hold, legs straight up, arms straight up, gaze is forward. You can totally take a hand back behind the base of your skull if you want support. Feel that flexion through your core as you're lifting up, extending through legs, extending through arms. And then back into those side to sides. Last 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. So listen, yogis, grab your hamstrings and rock back and forth a couple times. And then we're going to rock up, cross the ankles, plant your hands, come back into your plank, and shift back to your down dog. Draw your right leg up tall, 3-legged down dog. And on your exhale, open the hip and bend the knee. So drape your toes down to the left as your knee lifts up. Watch in this scorpion down dog that your left heel's not twisting out to the left. It's right behind you. And that you're not dropping the weight to your left shoulder. You're supporting it nice and strong. And then on an inhale, take your right leg back up in space, 3-legged down dog. And as you exhale, you're going to step your right foot up to the outside of your right hand for a runner's lunge. So we can leave the hands to the ground, or you can start to work your forearms down to a blanket, to the ground, or to a block. Back knee stays lifted, gaze is down to the mat, crown of the head is reaching forward. And you want to watch that you're not rolling, super hard onto the outside edge of your right foot. You might, in fact, pivot with your right heel and turn your right toes a little bit out to the right, opening your hip a little bit to face forward. Feel rooted into all corners of your feet, stabilizing your knee right over your heel. Just like you were doing in a forearm plank, watch that your hips aren't dropping down, you're not sinking. You're holding your hips up nice and strong in space so they're squared down to the ground and squared towards the front of the room. And those times that I get quiet in here is just when I'm focusing on the breathing, just finding it. It's the part I love about this practice, taking it into a meditation. Press back up to your hands, heel toe your right foot back in, so you're just in a low lunge position. And then we'll take it up into a high crescent lunge position. Let that back knee drop a little bit down to the ground so you get deep into your lunge. Right knee's bent at 90. Thigh bones are plugging in towards one another. That back left heel is pulling forward. You're on the ball of your left foot. Arms up, shoulder heads released. Shining towards the front of the room. And then try in one move just to lift your way up into a one-legged mountain. So your right leg is your base. And you're lifting up through your left knee. Okay, so we are going to go for a bind at standing. This is going to be where we drop the left arm down at your side. This is standing bow pose. And then you're opening the belly of your left forearm out towards the left side of the room. Bend your left knee, bring your left heel to your left sit bone, and then grab the inside arch of the foot. Supernatural, you're going to want to grab the outside edge, so just switch it so the belly of your forearm still faces to the left wall. Thumb has the top, fingers have the bottom. Okay, perfect. And then in this, you start to find the bind. So you start to kick your leg back. It's going to start to pull your arm taut and reach it back. As that happens, hinge forward. And then like locust pose, yes, again, referencing locust pose, you are lifting up through your chest, finding the length through the back of the neck, out the top of the eyes. In this one, like we did in that variation of locust pose, right arm is flying forward, slightly lifting up. So focus on an object that's not moving, focus your gaze. And then if you were looking at yourself in a mirror in this one, you'd want to see the left arm and left leg disappear behind the left side body. So your knees going straight back in space. Last couple rounds. And that's it. Inhale, rise back up, find your one-legged mountain. And on your exhale, we're going to swim through airplane all the way back into low lunge position. From that low lunge position, we're going to start to set up into our pigeon pose. So walk your right foot over to the left side of your mat, making a 7 shape with your legs. Slide your left leg back a little bit in space. The top of the foot is to the ground. And then when you're pressing to your hands and lifting up through your chest, let the right knee move a little bit to the right, so it's to the outside of your right hand. From here, Start to lower down, and you can bring your forearms to the mat, to a block or a blanket. And then your forehead comes down to your hands or down to the mat. You can also go on to reclined pigeon on your back, right ankle over the top of your left thigh. And just paying attention to the subtle movements that the breath creates in the body. The way once we start deep breathing inside of a stretch, that your body starts to open into that stretch. You want to watch in pigeon that you're not leaning your hips to the left or to the right. Your hips are up in space on the same level with one another. The front of your left leg is pointing straight down to the ground. That one is feeling good today. Okay, press up to your hands, lift up through your chest, and then we're stepping back into our downward facing dog, lifting back and up through the hips. Feel free to walk out the dog for a second if you want. And then on your inhale, take your left leg back up in space, three-legged downward facing dog. And as you exhale, open the hip and bend the knee, drape the toes down over to the right, and then lift your knee up tall. And it's as if your knee stayed on the same trajectory your left leg was on in three-legged down dog, but then you just took that little dip of your toes down to the side. Watch that you're not twisting in your shoulders, your back heel is not pointing out to the right, straight back behind you, shoulders nice and strong. And then on your exhale, left foot to the outside of your left hand for runner's lunge. We can stay on the hands if you're already feeling that stretch, or you can start to bring your forearms to, again, a blanket, a block, or to the floor. And then your elbows are on the same horizontal line as the inside of your left foot. Hips nice and strong in space and just not sinking down, using those core, using those back muscles to keep those hips up, just like a forearm plank. You might turn your left toes a little bit to the left so the inside of your left foot is shining forward, but stabilize your left knee right above your left heel. Feel that left foot gripping down to the ground. Squaring hips to the ground, squaring hips to the front of the room. Beautiful breathing. Pressing up to your hands, step your left foot into a low lunge position, and on an inhale, rise up into your high crescent lunge. Letting the legs drop a little bit down into this, the hips drop a little bit down into this. Feel those thighs toning in, back heel pulling forward. You're on the ball of the right foot. Lift up through your chest. Thumbs back, pinkies forward. Shoulder heads down away from the ears, biceps pulling back to frame your ears. And then in one step, try to reach up into that one-legged mountain. Perfect. So for our standing bow, you'll drop your right hand down at your side. Belly of your right forearm points to the right wall. Left arm is still up in space. You'll bend the right knee, bring the heel to your sit bone, and grab the inside arch of the foot. So thumb has the bottom, fingers have the top. Draw your knees together, and then you're going to start to kick back in space into that bind. So feel that back foot drawing backwards, pulling your arm tight with it, and then you start to lean forward, gaze out the top of your eyes. Find that locust, lift to your chest, lift to your back thigh. Fly that left arm forward. looking for the right leg to disappear behind the right hip and the right arm to disappear back behind your right shoulder. All of it behind your right side body. Last couple rounds of breath. Release, inhale, rise up one-legged mountain. And on the exhale, swim through airplane all the way down to your low lunge position. Once you've got that low lunge position, we're going to walk the left foot over to the right and find our pigeon, dropping your knee over to the left. Right foot is down to the ground, the top of it. Walk it back directly behind you. Lift up through your chest, press the fingertips, and then note that the left knee is wide. It's outside of your left hand. Take that fold down to your forearms. You can have the top of your left foot or the side of the left foot to the ground. And if you're on your back in reclined pigeon, just switch it up. Left ankle over the top of your right thigh. Either way, I want you to drop deep into that meditative breath. Simply by controlling or regulating your inhales and your exhales, you are practicing mindfulness. You are meditating. You're taking an action your body automatically does, and you are bringing thought, you are bringing awareness to it. And you're bringing yourself into the present moment, into the present experience. So this yoga that we do, this physical practice that we do, Hatha yoga, we're taking the postures, the asanas, and we're combining it with that breath, creating this moving meditation. So asana plus pranayama. Press up to your hands, tuck your back right toes, and then just step back into this last downward facing dog, maybe walking out through the dog for a moment. And then you can bring it down to your knees, bring your legs forward, dropping down into one of your hips. And we're just going to take the rest of class down onto our backs. So if you've got your hair in a bun or a ponytail, let go of it so your head can relax down to the ground. Once your head's all the way down, just bring your knees into your chest, wrap your arms around your knees, give yourself a nice little rock out. Okay, if you want to do waterfall, you can lift your legs straight up in space. This is kind of a restorative option. Or you can take a block and put it right under the edge of the block, right under your hips to support them. If you want shoulder stand, bring your triceps down into the ground at your sides, elbows closer into your rib cage. Push into your elbows, shoulders, and the base of your skull, and then lift the legs up nice and tall. Now, it's funny because the weight's actually not really on so much on your shoulders as it is your elbows, triceps, and the base of your skull. Hands are on your low back, and you really want to check that the weight is not on your neck. We've got a nice, clear airway to breathe with as we reach up through the legs. We can take shoulder stand and start to reach the legs back overhead behind us in plow pose, pressing hands to the low back or reaching them in front or behind you, and then keeping legs straight. You could also experiment bending the knees, and only go as far as you can still work with the breath. Vertebrae by vertebrae, roll out of that plow pose. If you're on a block and waterfall, take it down. And then we're going to lift into bridge. So feet at hip bone distance, reach the arms down along your sides, step the heels in until your fingers can brush against your heels, and then press back into your triceps, into your elbows, lift up through your hips, bring your shoulder blades, step them in a little closer to make a shelf for your heart. And with your feet at hip bone distance and your feet on parallel, spread out into the feet and then press and grip down, stabilize the knees as you lift up through the hips. Relax the head, press down through your arms. And as you work that Ujjayi breath, that diaphragm breath, you will see the rise and fall of your belly in bridge. One more inhale and bridge. Then when the exhale comes, you can bring the shoulder blades further away, vertebrae by vertebrae, roll down, and take it to happy baby. Peace sign fingers make hooks around your big toes, or you can grab the outside edges of your feet with your hands. Bend your knees, the bottoms of the feet shine up to the sky, knees are out wide. Stack the ankles above your knees, and then just pull down on the frame gently. Let the weight of your arms pull down on the legs, bringing your low back close to the ground or into the ground. And then just give a nice side-to-side rock here. Weight of the head relaxed. We'll take the left leg flat out in front of us. You can bend the right knee to your shoulder or reach the right leg straight up in space. And then we'll make a spinal twist here where you take the right knee or the lengthened right leg over to the left, rolling onto the outside edge of your left hip. And then reach your right arm opposite out to the right wall. And your gaze goes away from your right leg over towards the right side of the room. Left hand can pull down the top of that left knee or thigh if the leg is bent. Or if it's extended, it can grab anywhere on the outside of the leg all the way to where your foot is. And just a great pose where your body's in this relaxed position, but you're getting such a big stretch through the spine. Roll onto your back, bring your knees to your chest, wrap your arms, give a little rock side to side, or little circles. And then to switch that out, just right leg flat out in front of you, left knee to your chest or left leg straight up in space. And then you'll take your twist to the other side, letting the knee come down over to the right. Move on, roll onto the outside edge of your right hip, and then reach your left arm to the left and take your gaze out across your left fingertips. And you're just making a big plus sign in space. Vertical line is your spine, and in this case, the right leg. Horizontal is your left arm and your left leg. But tap in, this is the last bit of that Ujjayi breathing we'll use today. But tap into the way that as the inhale comes in, you're going to feel it fight slightly against the twist. But then when your exhale comes, your body releases into it. And then just bring your knees to your chest. Give yourself one little more rock on your back, just neutralizing your spine. And then we're ready for our final resting pose. This is corpse posture, Shavasana. Make yourself comfortable, make yourself warm. You can cover your eyes with anything that you want. Essentially just getting to lengthen your legs out in front of you. Weight of the feet relaxes open. Releasing your arms at the sides, your palms turn up to the sky. And then just relaxing the weight of your head, so feeling the body heavy to the ground. And feeling the support that the earth offers back. As we let our body just relax into the stillness, our mind and our emotions just get to flow into that same place of stillness, so to a deeper place of peace. Nice and slow, just bring some life back to your body. Give a roll out through your fingers, a roll out through your toes. Stretch your arms back overhead behind you in space, just doing a full morning stretch, reaching from the front of the room to the back. Roll out your ankles, roll out your wrists. And then turn the weight of your body onto your side, curling up in a fetal position. You can just relax your head to your outstretched arm. And from your side, you can bring yourself up into easy pose, Sukhasana. This is just a cross-legged position on the front edge of your sit bones. Lengthen up through your spine. Once you've arrived, close your eyes and let your shoulder heads just roll down away from the ears and the back. Find that length all the way up through the back of your neck. Relax the weight of your arms. And appreciate just the grounding that you have with your sit bones down to the earth, but also just that awareness that we have with our spine straight up in space, the alertness that we have. Hands can come into the heart center, thumbs back against your sternum. And then just this word in Sanskrit that still gets used across the globe. I salute you. Namaste.
Right on, amigos. Thanks so much for joining me for yoga today. If you guys are in a place to make a donation for the class, I've got my Venmo link that's in the description below. And if not, no worries, it is my gift to you. And as always, please like, please subscribe, please share the love. And I hope you guys have a fabulous one. I will catch you next time.